into the next part of our Doctor Who 20 years of a special celebration for the Who universe, as we are going to take a look at Series 6, Matt Smith's second year as the 11th Doctor, and obviously these stories are going to get more intense because obviously this is the series that finally introduced us to the true identity of River Song and that whole mysterious death that was going on, where the Doctor getting shot by an astronaut plot line, that big cliffhanger, a big moment in the Impossible Astronaut that everyone wanted to know what led to that. So of course that was a big plot line going into this series. And of course the silence being. Let's kick things off by talking about my favorite stories in Series 6, shall we? So in terms of Series 6 stories, what did I enjoy? Obviously the first two episodes, first ever two-part opener for Doctor Who, The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. I love that two-parter. That two-parter was so well done. I love what they did with the two-parter for that. It was so well executed, especially the introduction of the silence enemies. This was the first time we saw them, thanks to the Impossible Astronaut, and also the fact that the girl in the astronaut suit was obviously, well, I guess the identity behind, some part of the identity behind who was responsible for killing the Doctor was actually the whole girl in the astronaut suit who you'll find out later, we'll find out later in the series who was actually, but it turned out to be someone who the Doctor knows, or happened to be someone who is related to the Doctor's team. Possible Astronaut Day of the Moon, really obviously set in 1969 during the landing of the first ever landing of the moon. Plotline was also involved in the plotline, and I love the whole fact that the silence message got spread through it all, which was really cool. So that was a really good story. And then another interesting story was, well, I thought was a really interesting story was the Rebel Flesh and the Almost People. The fact that you had this double ganger flesh person, so essentially the flesh copies your DNA and behaves similarly to you. When the thunderstorms attack the machine, now those people are all of a sudden in charge, and they now feel real when they're supposed to have, when the flesh people were supposed to melt away. Turns out they are real people now. They are existing in the real world, meaning that they now function as real, which is really crazy to think that they're acting like real people now. And you have this whole conflict between the people and the flesh, trying to debate on who's really in charge. They were trying to literally destroy one another, even though the Doctor was trying to create peace between the two parties. And then you also find out the Doctor has his own doppelganger. We find out that the doppelganger that came out of the machine was actually the Doctor all along, and the other one was the doppelganger, the one that was traveling with Amy and Rory since the Impossible Astronaut. So it turns out that the flesh one was actually the real Doctor the entire time. Knows about what was going on with Amy, and the fact that he was trying to scan about her being pregnant was actually because she is pregnant, but actually it was the double ganger version of her that was traveling with the Doctor, and it was revealed in this two-parter. It was basically the double ganger version of Amy Rory, or Amy specifically, as they captured the real Amy who was actually pregnant. So, and obviously, story I thought was good was the following story, A Man Goes to War, where we find out that Amy's baby was none other than River Song. Yes, River Song was essentially the daughter of Amy Pond and Rory Pond the entire time. She's now basically was a part of the Doctor's life as a way to, because of Amy and Rory's night of passion led to birth of Amy, the birth of Amelia, who happens to be River Song. So, pretty interesting moment there, finding out that she was basically Amy and Rory's daughter the entire time. And then, of course, it led to another story that I thought was, I love Closing Time. Closing Time was fun. Obviously, you have Craig working with the Doctor again, dealing with the Cyberman crisis. Obviously, he was a bit more intense this time because obviously he's had a baby with his lodger friend who basically fell in love the year before. So now he bumped into the Doctor. And of course, he's tried to be a dad for this. Luckily, it worked out for him because of the Doctor. He was able to do his sort of inner dad this story, which was great. And then, of course, you've got the wedding of River Song, which I thought was a bit. It wasn't particularly well. It was okay, but I preferred Closing Time over the wedding of River Song, to be honest. If that makes any more sense. But yeah, so these were just some of my stories I enjoyed. I would love to hear about what stories you enjoyed enjoyed about Series 6 in the comment section below. Which stories did you feel strongly towards? And also, what stories did you really enjoy the most out of this series? Because obviously there was a lot of two-parters in this. There was quite a bit of two-parters at the first half of the series, and then the rest of the half was essentially single episode. So it was basically roles reverse, essentially, is what we got. That's essentially how they laid out the series. So there you go. That is essentially my thoughts on the Series 6 storyline. I thought that was really, and I would love to know in the comment section below, like I said, what do you make of Series 6? I enjoyed some of the episodes, particularly the Neil Gaiman story. The Doctor's wife was kind of interesting, and obviously I was kind of looking forward to seeing what he did next, of course, because hopefully he was going to do even better with his next story. That was essentially what we got from Series 6. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all for Series 7 look as we look back at Series 7, which was also a series that was split in two parts, but also saw the end of Amy and Rory and the introduction of Clara Oswald, played by Jenna Coleman, before Matt Smith would eventually have and be replaced by Peter Capaldi as closer to the start of Peter Capaldi's as the 12th Doctor, who would take over the series. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all for that review soon.